David was in trouble. Real trouble. Enemies were closing in. They wanted him dead. Fear pressed in. What did he do? He did what we all do in times of trouble. He prayed. Not just any prayer, a desperate prayer, a raw, honest prayer. This prayer, Psalm 59, is titled Sigajon, a Hebrew word that speaks of a desperate cry for help. David's situation was dire. His enemies were like dogs snarling, roaming the city. They plotted against him. But David knew where to turn. My God is my fortress, in God I trust. He poured out his heart to God. We've all been there, facing trouble, feeling alone. Like David, we can find strength in prayer. We can pour out our hearts to God, knowing He hears us. David's enemies were relentless. They were like ravenous lions roaring, eager to tear. They slandered him, spread lies, and waited to pounce. They were driven by hate, consumed by jealousy. David had every right to be afraid, but he chose to trust in God. He declared, "You, Lord, are a shield around me, my glorious protector." David knew that even in the darkest night, God was with him. Sometimes it feels like the darkness will never end. We face betrayal, injustice, and pain. But like David, we can find refuge in God. He is our shield, our protector. David didn't hold back. He cried out for justice. He asked God to rise up and judge the nations. He longed for God to deal with the wickedness around him. David's prayer wasn't vengeful. It was a plea for God to intervene. He knew that only God could bring true justice. He trusted in God's righteousness. In a world filled with injustice, it's tempting to take matters into our own hands, but David's example reminds us to seek God's justice. He sees, he knows, he will act. Section 4, the shield of the Almighty. David found comfort in God's protection. He declared, "God is my merciful God, God protects me." He knew that no matter what his enemies threw at him, God was his shield. This image of God as a shield is powerful. It speaks of safety, security, and unwavering defense. David's trust in God's protection gave him courage. When we face our own battles, we can find the same courage. God is our shield. He surrounds us with his presence and protects us from harm. Section 5, Triumphant Trust. David's prayer wasn't just a cry for help, it was a declaration of trust. Even in his fear, he chose to praise God. He sang, "For God is my fortress, my God is my merciful God." David's trust in God wasn't based on his circumstances, it was rooted in who God is. He is faithful, just, and merciful. David's song of praise reflected his unwavering faith. When we choose to praise God, even in the midst of trials, we declare our trust in Him. We acknowledge His sovereignty and His goodness. Section 6, a song for today. David's Sigajon is more than just an ancient prayer. It's a timeless message of hope. It reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles. God sees, He hears, He cares. When we face our own giants, we can find strength in David's example. We can pour out our hearts to God, knowing that He hears our cries. We can trust in His protection and find solace in His presence. David's prayer of desperation is now a song of triumph, a testament to the enduring power of faith. It's a song that continues to resonate with every heart that seeks refuge in the shelter of God's wings.